All right, in the meantime, Dennis Rodman giving Kim Jong-un in North Korea President Trump's Art of the Deal book. But sometimes a picture can kind of say it all. And there you go. Art of the Deal, North Korea. Need I say more? No. All right, in the meantime, Otto Warmbier's parents, he was the young American who was taken by the North Koreans. Well, they're speaking out today, his return to the U.S., and a lot of it isn't flying with that.
Even if you believe their explanation of botulism and a sleeping pill causing the coma, and we don't, there is no excuse for any civilized nation to have kept his condition secret and denied him top-notch medical care for so long.
All right, former UN Ambassador John Bolton with us. You know, Ambassador, we were saying earlier that after all the missile tests, all the craziness that this regime has done, this is the one that seems to be sticking in most people's craw in this country and around the world, the heartlessness of it. And it might resonate more than any of that other stuff. What do you think?
Well, this is obviously a tragedy for Otto Warmbier and his family. There's still a lot we don't know. But I don't think there's any question that his mistreatment by the North Koreans tells us a lot about the character of the regime. And this is not the only piece of evidence. The assassination of Kim Jong-un, the country's leader, assassination of his half-brother by having people rub VX nerve agent on his face, the murder of his uncle by lowering anti-aircraft artillery and killing him with bullets big enough to rip him apart. Nobody ever said for any of these, oh, that doesn't sound like the Kim Jong-un regime that we know. This is a 25 million person prison camp in North Korea. The notion that they follow the same kind of rationality that we do, I think, is once again disproved by this inhumane treatment. And if there were any argument that you needed, that what we really need to do with this regime is end it sooner rather than later. This is not a regime you can negotiate with and expect to reach an agreement that they'll honor. They never have in their entire history, going back to the Korean War. Now, this is a heavy prescription, to say the least, but honestly, that's what we ought to look at. The way to end the North Korean nuclear threat is to end North Korea, reunite the peninsula, or find some other way to consign this regime to the ash heap of history.
Yeah, I mean, even their argument that, you know, this young man just sort of fell into his own fate here. Even when they're ushering him around, I mean, you could see he's being abused in that process. But having said that, there's another track going on here with Dennis Rodman there, and I don't know what is being done at the behest of the White House or what is being communicated to the White House, but that seems crazy to me. But what do you make of all this?
Well, I don't pretend to understand Dennis Rodman or what he may be up to there. I think this is always difficult when an American is taken hostage. You feel for the individual who's being used as a pawn in a bigger international political game. You feel for their family. And it's hard on presidents. It was hard on Ronald Reagan when our hostages were taken in Lebanon by militant groups there. But a president's real responsibility is to protect all American citizens, and primarily that means not giving terrorists or state sponsors of terrorism or authoritarian regimes anywhere any incentive to take more hostages. And that's the direction the policy ought to be. Obviously, we want to try and get those who are captured out, but you don't want to do it in a way such as by paying ransom that simply encourages the hostage takers.
Doing? I cannot imagine he's doing this totally unbeknownst to the White House or uncommunicated with the White House. Is it just you work whatever connections you have, even if it's Dennis Rodman or what?
Well, honestly, I don't think there's any connection between the release of Otto Warmbier and Dennis Rodman being in North Korea.
No, neither do I, but I'm saying going forward on this other stuff, is he going to grease the skids for something else here, or what do you think?
You know, I don't have the slightest idea, but I'd say this: sometimes it's more trouble to try and restrain somebody like this from going than it is to let them go. But nobody should suffer from any illusions here. You can send the New York Philharmonic to Pyongyang to play Korean traditional songs. It's not going to change that regime one iota. It is, as I said before, a 25 million person prison camp. That's the way it always has been, and that's the way it will be till the day it collapses.
All right. Anything short of that would not be welcome in your eyes. All right. John Bolton, good seeing you again. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Neil.